Di punti, dai. Merda. È un fottutissimo rodeo. È un Mio Dio. Oddio, ho sputato sul monitor.
Determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
Cioè, li devo uccidere tutti, ma non ho capito. Non ho capito sta cosa. Non ho capito sta cosa, come devo ucciderli?
They got it wrong. A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds.
Sono un grande.
Paroled 14 years later. He moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his two brothers.
Mio Dio. Sono un grande. Mi piace.
My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told.
Episodio 7, The Wild Bunch, Juarez 1868. Devo un attimo bere.
It was 1868 and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the three of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
Oddio. Ma è stato al treno non da manuale. Ma non è che sta finendo il gioco, boh.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy, they were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. I figured the Wild Bunch would likely hit such a treasure, and by God, I figured right.
Ok, saliamo un attimo di livello. Allora, vediamo cosa possiamo... no. Tasche profonde, munizioni e candelato dinamite di riserva aumentati. Trasportano una quantità maggiore di questi proiettili per fucile pompe ed esplosivi. No. Più palline di cartucce, no. Contrattacco dopo la percezione vendica di un punto di morte. Dopo aver evitato un colpo letale, chi l'ha sparato sarà marcato e poi eliminato con un colpo. No. Doppio fucile, no. Fucile a pompa, no. Vabbè, queste qua magari le faremo quando avremo già finito questi altri. Ingrandimento aggiunti mentre miri, no. Velocità di ricarica aumentata, no. Questo è? Facciamo questo, dai.
They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop. Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above, so I had no choice but to make my way up through the passenger cars dangling down. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
LOL, guarda, perché si illumina? No sense. Qui c'è qualcosa, sì, qui lo so. Ecco, lo sapevo. È ovvio, no? 1000. Ah, però. La rapina di Wilcox. Oh. Mio Dio. Mi sa che dovevo andare qua, forse. No. Usa?
I found the device they used to blow the tracks, so I knew I was headed in the right direction.
Madonna, ma perché mi gratta col mouse? Sei su 37.
My ears are still ringing from blowing up that ridge. What'd you say?
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them.
Mi date un'altra pistola?
I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of there.
Excuse me? Vedi qua? Ti stai allontanando dalla storia. Affanculo. Cavallo, morirai.
I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados.
No, voglio ranger inciso.
Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall. There were no passengers aboard that day.
E ora un'altra cosa. Quindi vediamo. Danni extra per le combo. Diventa più letale nella tua furia omicida. Dopo il quarto livello di combo i proiettili infliggeranno più 100% di danni. Motherfucker, come on. Quick Shatter d'avorio. No. Apri. Apri, oh.
As I
Apri.
mentioned before, I am not fond of heights. But I was too busy dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death. Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway. So I was determined to take down as many of those bastards as I could.
God damn him! You ain't beating me, boy!
Dov'è? Chi è che mi ha sparato?
You can't hide from me!
Ah, di qua devo andare.
Times
Uffa, mi
it was like
piaceva la
shooting
cosa di
ducks
andare
in a
sul
shooting
treno.
gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back.
Ah, yeah, ora si spiega tutto. Non si spiega un cazzo. Stiamo rapinando la diligenza. No, non è vero, la stiamo salvando. Qui è chiuso anche. Qui si apre? Non si apre nulla. Se magari riesco anche, non so, ad andare da qualche parte invece di buggarmi. Dove cazzo è? Sì, ma oddio. Oddio, madonna. Sei impedito cronico proprio. È impedito cronico questo. Va bene, dai. LOL.
I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a
You
hand.
mean like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about? Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
Cioè? Come ci sono arrivati sulle rocce? Tutori della legge versus Mucchio Selvaggio. Una sparatoria in piena
Help?
regola.
From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the wild bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Who the hell is that?
Pessima idea quella di buttarsi, pessima idea. Volevo fare qualcosa tipo
Who the hell
cinematografico.
is that? Damn you! Take cover! Retreat! Retreat!
Qua si sfonda? Nulla.
He's killing everybody! Calm down, let's go!
Oh oh oh, c'è una pepita. Starà forse di qua? No, di solito me le segna quando sono vicine. Quando sono molto vicine. Quindi deve stare di qua. Sì.
Brother, I'm gonna make you cry!
In una gabbia. Perché l'hanno rinchiuso in una gabbia?
My guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left, and I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail.
Dai, almeno un altro livello lo voglio fare, dai.
Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nose Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay.
Cioè, praticamente
Some folks might dispute that.
questo è un veloce quando un cazzo. Scommettiamo che mi fa fuori.
On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamped for South America.
Butch Cassidy.
They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that.
Bonus PE, tempo totale, focalizzazione, velocità. E va bene. Treno per l'inferno. Silas Greaves afferma che la sua instancabile caccia a Bob Bryant costrinse i capi del Mucchio Selvaggio a scappare in Sud America. Ancora questa quick shotter. Paracute.
Sometime later I heard the Wild Bunch was back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail and now he was running the whole shebang. So I took to their trail, as I was still in pursuit of my brother's killer and hoped that he was back with him.
Sono lucciole? Cosa ci possiamo comprare? Questa cos'è? Elimina un paio di nemici di seguito per riprendere concentrazione. La barra, vabbè. Oppure potremmo... Continui deve essere pronto a sparare